Right guys, welcome back to another video, and today let's talk about some football. Right, so today we are doing our game week. What week is it? I think it's game week 5 already, which is kind of, yeah, it's game week 5 I think already, which is kind of crazy already that we're already in week 5 of 38, which isn't good for Leicester City being as we are bottom of the table. If you would like to see a rant on Leicester City, I could always do another one. I enjoy talking about it because we are awful, genuinely awful. But let's not talk about Leicester City yet. They are the last team playing this game week. I think they're playing on Thursday. So let's start off with the games that are happening tonight, which is a Tuesday game. They're all on BT Sport, and I think they all start at like 7:30 or something. But let's talk about it. The first game being Palace versus Brentford. For this one, I've gone for a 1-1. I did think Brentford were a lot better than they were, especially when they beat Manchester United and played really well against Leicester, coming back from 2-0 down to get that draw. I was quite impressed with them in those two games, but being as they lost to Fulham last week, which I thought was a game which they would obviously win, didn't perform at the level which I thought they could, but at the end of the day, they're playing a Palace team which hasn't looked that great either. They've looked decent. They played semi-well against Manchester City, although scored 2 goals from 2 shots on target. Shows they're clinical, but doesn't show that they're creating the most chances in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, I think this will be a 1-1. I just think it'll be a draw. I think it's 2 quite well-matched teams and 2 teams that could perform this season or could just be mid-table. And I think that'll probably how it ends. It's just 2 mid-table teams getting a 1-1 draw. Pretty much a nothing game to start off this game week. Moving on to Fulham versus Brighton. Brighton have looked really good this season. Like, really good. I don't know where they are in the table. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have the table in front of me. But from the results we've seen, they have played really well. Like, fair play to Brighton. I think they're going to win this 2-0. Fulham. I keep doubting Fulham because I don't want Mitrovic to score 10 goals. Because I said he wouldn't. And I like being right. You know, so I really like being right. So hopefully Mitrovic doesn't score and it's 2-0 to Brighton. I know a lot of people will be saying, like, I hate Fulham, mainly because they're a yo-yo team. But if they do actually stay up, that would be quite interesting. And to see how long they could prolong that would be an interesting Premier League art, I guess you could say. So I've gone 2-0 Brighton, though. I just think Brighton will have a bit too much quality. However, they don't really have a striker which is, like, solidified that's going to score them goals, so maybe I've gone a bit outrageous there, but I'm counting on the midfielders and stuff like that to score the goals for them there. Moving on to Southampton versus Chelsea. Southampton always managed to sneak a goal, but I do think it's going to be 3-1 to Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea's defence is as solid as it was last season. They've obviously lost many key components, added new ones. It's not exactly gelled completely yet. We've seen them lose massively to Leeds, which was a bit weird as well. This Premier League season has been a bit weird so far, but they need to come back and win 3-1 at least against this Southampton team. This Southampton team isn't great. They're conceding goals all over the place pretty much, and I just think you should be able to beat these lot 3-1 quite easily, or even 3-0. I've given Southampton a goal there because I do think they have quite a good attacking threat in most situations, but we'll need to see what happens there. Now, moving on to this next one, I've gone for Leeds versus Everton. I think it's going to be a bit of a shock one. I think it's actually going to be a 0-0, where neither team is going to look inspiring, and it just be a bit of a dead game. I think this is going to be the deadest game of the week. Moving on to Bournemouth versus Wolves. Bournemouth are not going to bounce back well from that loss. Although I think they might score first against this Wolves team. But I think Wolves have played a bit better than I initially gave them credit for in the first few games of the season. So I do think Wolves are probably going to win this 2-1 against the Bournemouth team that now seems to be a bit lost and not really know what they're meant to be doing now. Just fired the manager, which I thought was an interesting decision after they didn't start badly to the season. They've got more points than Leicester, and Leicester haven't sacked their manager. But I suppose after a 9-0 loss, what can you do? Like, maybe Southampton should have fired Ralph Hasenhüttl both times, but at the end of the day, is it better to fire him or just stick with him, especially when you're a team like Bournemouth, destabilising the guy who got you there in that situation? It's better early than late, but I'm not sure it's going to go that well for them. Moving on to Arsenal versus Villa. Villa are just going to be bad again. I think Steven Gerrard is actually going to get sacked, in my opinion. I think he is just going to get sacked quite soon. I think he's going to lose 3-1. Aston Villa, they're just not clinical enough, and they're just poor defensively. They had that issue where he got injured quite early in the season, or before he even played a game. So that issue is going to be major for Aston Villa, and I just think Arsenal on this high of being a really top performing club in the Premier League so far, I just think that they are going to beat this Aston Villa team that is kind of in the dumps already. Moving on to City versus Forest, I feel as though after seeing that 9-0 at Liverpool, I feel as though Man City are going to want to respond in some way or form against the Nottingham Forest team that isn't great. So I think they're going to win 3-0 quite easily. Haaland will probably get another 2 goals, to be fair. He's already on 6 goals, I think, which is not fun for me saying that he's not going to win the Golden Boot. But, you know, City are going to easily run through this Forest team. They aren't good enough to compete with them in any way, and I just don't see them even scoring a goal. Moving on to West Ham versus Spurs. I've gone for 2-1 Spurs. I think West Ham, after getting those 3 points on the board, are going to perform at a better level and not be as bad as they were. But at the end of the day, I just think that West Ham... But at the end of the day, I just think that Spurs are going to have too much for them, too much quality. Harry Kane, Son, Richarlison coming off the bench, Kulusevski, and now Perisic being involved more. A lot of the signings which they've made are coming to the forefront and actually starting to play more games and more meaningful minutes, which in my opinion can only really help Tottenham. So I've gone for a 2-1. I think West Ham will score a goal. I think it'll be quite close. It always is with West Ham and Spurs. But at the end of the day, I just think Spurs are going to have too much quality and too much tactical knowledge to not win this game. But then we move on to the second last game of the game week, which is Liverpool versus Newcastle. I feel as if now Liverpool are going to go on that run that they always do in the Premier League, where they just don't lose a game or even draw one for a long period of time. I feel as though they're going to kick on and win 2-0 versus this Newcastle team, which have been unbeaten. And sadly, in my opinion, Newcastle's unbeaten run is going to actually fall now, and they are going to be beaten by Liverpool quite comfortably 2-0 at home. At Anfield, and it's just going to be quite a comfortable game for this Liverpool team, and it's not going to trouble them too much anyway. And moving on to the final game of the game week. Now we talk about Leicester City versus Manchester United. In my opinion, it's going to be an easy win for Manchester United. Leicester are awful, and until that transfer window shuts, Leicester are going to be in trouble. I feel as if as soon as that transfer window shuts, Leicester will have a lot more security in the squad and it will be a lot more settled. After losing a leader like Kasper Schmeichel, it's going to be extremely hard to come back from that situation. But at the end of the day, I just think Manchester United now, they have a bit more of a formula, and I just think that they are going to win quite easily against the Leicester City team, which is lacking in confidence, lacking in coordination, and all round a poor team and the real team in crisis within the Premier League. Leicester City are not in a good place, and I'm not sure how long Brendan Rodgers has got after speaking to a lot of Leicester fans and a lot of people that watch Leicester and go to the games every single week, which I don't have the opportunity to do. But there's a lot of negative feelings around the club and Brendan Rodgers right now. But that is my opinion on it, and I'm just relaying what thoughts I've heard people say. But that is the end of the video, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching.